those?
It looks like Rapunzel.
Oh, Rapunzel is what you said. Oh, it is very Rapunzel. It's the right color scheme. It's like I actually bought it for, my friend throws a Indian themed, like you're supposed to dress in the Southeast Asian Indian traditional clothing. And so this has a matching top and it has a sash and everything, so I bought it for that. And
Lily
yeah, Lily sings. She throws it's like my favorite event that happens in LA every year. I'm not much of a go out and party person, but her party I go to every year. It's pretty fun. But yeah, everybody's filing in. How we doing? I sat down a little preemptively. I apologize, but you can all hear me. So welcome everyone. I always like to do a question and answer before the show, just with a more intimate setting. So do you guys have any questions? Sir in the stripes.
I know in your personalized video afterward, you mentioned that electronic dubstep was an experiment. I'm wondering if you do any of that portion of your work, of your songs, or if you pair with other artists in the electronic side.
Oh, like doing more collabs with electronic artists, you're asking?
I'm saying if you do synthesizers and other things for your music, or if you just do the violin part.
So I wish I was a producer. I am not in terms of being able to sit there and make the sounds happen, I am a very mediocre producer. I can make demos, but it's something I wish I could do. But yeah, I work with producers who are really good at the electronic stuff. But I definitely do, I sit there, and we create the sounds while I'm there in the room. And that's usually what we start with when we're working on a song. And then I'll come up actually with the violin ideas after the fact, after we've kind of got at least half of the track created. All the fine tuning happens later. But we start out with what is the kind of sonics of this song? What's the electronic vibe? What are the drums? Because that kind of helps set the tone, and it helps me to then write violin melodies a little bit better. Yeah. Yes. My favorite song I've ever written is probably Shatter Me. I think, is that a favorite? I think that's one of the most meaningful songs I've ever written. I also, it was combining a lot of different ideas, and when you do that, it can either be a disaster and be okay, that was terrible. Obviously those elements didn't work together. Or sometimes when you really put yourself far out there and try, it's it creates something really unique and interesting. And so Shatter Me is one of the most interesting songs I've ever written because it combines dubstep with very classical sounding lines of violin with a rock vocalist like Lizzie Hale. So it was just a really unique combination of things, and made it really special. There it is, there we go. So that's probably always going to be one of my favorites. In the back. Well, I'm so excited that you brought that up. It means that it's probably going to happen if people are excited about it. Because our team on our end, we've committed to we will do this if the interest was there from the fans. So they sent out a survey. People have started to ask about it. So I'm it seems like it is going to happen, which gets me really excited. We were literally brainstorming ideas about it today. Of if I had a Lindsey Stirling cruise, experience, what would we do? I would want to make lots of activities and things through the day to make it a true experience. So you don't feel you're just on a boat for 4 days and you get a performance. No, we want to make it lots of performances, lots of experiences, lots of interactive things. So I am very excited about the possibility, and it looks like it's going to happen. Yes. Yeah, in the front. Yeah. Yeah, so the words written in Shatter Me were supposed to express the idea of breaking free from something. And I think there's a lot of times, a lot of people can relate to the idea of just in life feeling a little bit trapped. like you're stuck in a situation, stuck in a mindset, but this idea of saying like, can somebody else just like free me from this and help me feel alive and break me free from this thing. And the idea of Shatter Me though was that you can't have anybody else break you free. Like in the end of the story, the ballerina, she had to break herself free from this spell of this music box. And you know, I wanted it to be pretty generic so that anybody could draw from it whatever they wanted it to mean to them. But for me, I wrote it about my experience in breaking free from anorexia, which was a disease that had really consumed my own mind and the way I thought about myself and the way I felt about myself. And I kind of was like, I want to be free. I want to learn to love myself again. I want to see color in life again. And I wrote it after the fact. I wrote it when I was better. I didn't write it when I was in the middle of it, because when I was in the middle of it, I definitely wasn't ready to talk about it. But once I overcame it, I was like, all right, this is a story I'm ready to share. Yes, in the red. I do get nervous on stage, especially, you know, before I go out and perform. Sometimes it's more so than others. But one thing I have learned pretty well is how to deal with the nerves, because I realized I think they're always going to be there, at least a little bit, because I care a lot. Every day I meet a whole group of people that I want to do a great show for you. I don't want to let anybody down. And I'm a human though. I will make mistakes. Every performance can't be the best performance of my life, and that's a little bit scary, knowing that this is the chance you all get to see me. And so I've learned ways to help me deal with the nerves so that it doesn't control me, and I get to manage them instead. And I do a lot of things like meditation before I go on stage. I do breath work to help kind of reset my body. And also it's a mindset. Every time I am on stage, if I make a mistake, which is bound to happen, I'm not perfect. I have a little saying that I tell myself, which is, I am just here to give a gift. And focusing more on what I get to give rather than what you are all thinking about me. Because I used to just go in a spiral of like, oh, they heard that. Oh gosh, they don't think I'm very good. Oh gosh, they're probably so disappointed they bought the ticket. Oh my gosh, they want to leave. You know, and it becomes this spiral because I can't control what you are all thinking about me. I cannot. I also have no idea what you're actually thinking. This is all just me in my head making up thoughts and spinning. But if I take it away from what's coming at me and I focus on what I get to give, I can focus on gratitude. I'm grateful to be here. I just get to do my best. That's all I have to do. I'm gonna share my love. And so it focuses on the energy going out. And I tell you, this is a way that has helped me deal with life in general. Like when I walk into an event that I'm nervous for and I don't know anybody, or a party that I don't know anybody at, thinking of it in terms of what do I get to give? I can't control what people are thinking about me. I don't even know what they're thinking about me. And so it's even helped me like with my social anxiety to be like, I just get to focus on what I get to share with people, a moment. And it has helped me in so many ways, deal with nerves, deal with just life. Yes, in the front.
Why did you choose the violin?
You know, I chose the violin because my parents love classical music, and when I was really little, they used to play it all the time in our home, and my sisters and I can still remember like dancing around the living room to like orchestral music, and I was, you know, a very bright child, and I noticed the violins always got the solos, so I was like, I want to play that thing. In the purple. What was my first what? The first song I created, it was actually called Violin Rock, because I didn't know what to call it. And I performed it actually in a pageant. I was trying to earn money for college, and someone told me about like, hey, you know, I bet you could win some money from like a pageant. And so I went, I wore the evening gown and everything, and you know, played a talent. And I decided though that there was quite a few violinists that were all playing like concertos, and we were all about the same skill level. And I remember thinking to myself, how am I gonna stand out? Because we're all basically the same skill. And so I decided to write a rock violin song. And I kind of like hopped around the stage as I played it, and it was the first time I ever tried like really straying from classical music. And just the audience reaction was so like, they were surprised. I could tell they were confused, but they were having fun. They were like cheering and laughing. And it was the first moment that I was like, huh, I think I tapped into something here. And I need to figure out how to keep scratching this itch, because it was so exciting to me to like surprise people like that. And it was really the beginning of like this whole journey. And yeah, that's where it all began. Violin rock when I was 18. Let's see. Yes, sir, in the dark shirt. You know, when I'm home in LA for a while, I will sign up for like hot yoga classes. I like the ones that include like cardio mixed with yoga. So yeah, but I definitely do a lot of, my dancers and I stretch a ton before the show. Also, aerial work is one of the ways that I think I've increased my flexibility the most. Because when you're in an apparatus, you cannot hit the position. You're literally using this apparatus to like yank your body in half and stuff. So that's definitely made me probably the most flexible, and I've really enjoyed that process. But yeah, it's been a fun journey to continuously keep my body in tour shape, especially as I get older. I'm 37 now, and I actually think my body's in the best shape it's ever been in. And it's kind of exciting to me as, we women, I think especially, fear age and getting older. And it's making me realize that like, I don't have to be afraid of this thing. I'm sure at some point I will not be able to do what I do now, and that's fine, but I'm going to live it up and enjoy it, and I'm not gonna see it as a limitation until my body tells me it's a limitation. Like, I'm gonna stay up here as young as I can for as long as I can. Yes, in the front.
Besides Paris, France, what city have you enjoyed the most or wish you could visit and perform in?
Aside from Paris, what's my favorite? Well, let's see. I do love touring in Europe. I just love Europe so much. I think mostly because I love walkable cities, and there's very few places in the States that are truly walkable cities, except for like, I like New York City and stuff, but so some of my favorite places are like, the Netherlands. I feel like I'm in Harry Potter as I walk around. It's very magical. So that might be one of my favorite places, aside from, Paris.
Yes.
Let's see, who is it? Yes, in the red dress. What was my favorite music video? Probably Round Table Rival. That one was just so fun to film. We got to like really lean into like the steampunk style of clothing. It was my first music video I shot on like a set, a location, and we had like extras, and it just felt like for the first time ever, I was like, it feels like we're making a movie, and it was just really fun. It will always probably be one of my favorites. Yes. Hey, you're not supposed to see those. It's to keep the lights from hitting us too directly, so we put very decorative umbrellas in the ceiling. And maybe they'll be a part of the show. Yes.
What rosin would you recommend?
Oh, that's such a great question.
What do you normally use?
That's such a great question. I don't remember the name of it, but I've been using the one with the fabric, the green fabric wrap around it. Oh my gosh, see, I don't know the name.
I'll find it though.
Yeah, it's like a green fabric that wraps around the rosin, and there's a little rubber band that's attached to it. I've been using that since I was like a kid, and I like dark rosins though. I think they have a little more grit to them.
I learned that like over the weekend when I was doing a little concert as well.
Are you a violinist?
Bassist.
Oh, nice.
I was a violinist for a few months. Then I switched over.
You're like, enough of that squeaking, right? Let's see. And in the front, and then we'll do in the purple.
Do you ever consider revisiting some of your earlier songs for tours, like Shadow Dance or
Oh, like shadows? Yes, I will say every tour, you know, we kind of try to focus on some of the new music, but then it's always fun to be like, what oldies should we bring back? You know, because there's also the ones you have to play that you're like, fans would be very disappointed if I didn't play like these three. So it's like you have to play those, you have to play some of the new music, but then there's always a few extra spots in a set where it's like, yeah, let's bring back this one that we haven't played in years, and so it's always fun to think of what are the surprise songs that we can do. And we did Shadows on we almost did it on our summer tour, and we ended up switching it out, but yeah, we'll bring that one back. That's one of my favorites, so yeah. Oh, yes. So I actually, she was asking if I did ballet or gymnastics, and I actually didn't start dancing till I was like 24 years old. And not for lack of trying, I actually begged for violin lessons when I was 6 and dance lessons. But my parents, they couldn't really afford either, let alone both. And so they took me to a dance class and a violin lesson, and they said, all right, which one do you want to do? And I picked violin, obviously. But I've always loved dance. I always wanted to dance. And so like, I even went to my high school and even junior high, like dance team auditions. My best friend and I went multiple times, like throughout our growing up, and we never made it, but we wanted to dance. And we sometimes joke and laugh about it to this day of like how awkward we were at those dance auditions. But you know, when I started to think, oh, I want to perform, I want to do live performing, I want to entertain people, you know, and I was writing this music that was very, you know, grand and epic, and I was like, I better learn how to match the energy of the music. And so it started out with just moving. I just was like, I'm gonna walk around the stage, I'm gonna learn how to like make eye contact with people instead of just staring at the violin. And you know, it started with just the simplest little things. And I think that if I could see where I'm at now, when I started like 13 years ago, I think I would be shocked at what I've learned to do through just lots of practice, lots of training, lots of working with choreographers. And every tour, I like to stretch myself a little bit more and do something I've never done before. And one, that's always a little scary when you realize that you're in rehearsals and you're not great at something yet, or you're like, can I do this? But that's the only reason I think my dancing has improved so much, is because I make myself a little bit uncomfortable before every tour to do something new. In the white.
Any tips for building performance confidence or recitals coming up this weekend?
How exciting! That expression back is not excited. I get it. Like I was saying, I've dealt with stage nerves my whole life. I remember sitting in, you know, the seats at my violin teacher's house waiting for my turn to perform in like her living room in front of the like 15 other students and their parents, and it was terrifying. My hands would sweat so bad and I'd shake. And I would say I didn't even think of this till I was starting to prepare to perform as like a, you know, oh gosh, people are buying tickets, I gotta actually be really good, you know. But I started to just ask people if I could play for them, because the best way to practice performing is to practice playing while having nerves, because everything changes once you're nervous, and suddenly something you can play with your eyes closed becomes like, what's the next note? So I would say practice performing in front of your mom, and have her sit down and pretend, like in your mind, imagine that this is the recital and it's your turn, and do everything like you would as if it's a recital. Then maybe if like the neighbor kids are over at your house playing, say, hey, can I play you a song? Practicing the art of being nervous and still performing is just as important as practicing playing. You have to learn how to deal with the nerves. And like I said, I still have them come up sometimes mid-performance where all of a sudden I'm like, I'm nervous, this song isn't going well. But now I know how to do it. I know how to say, hey, we're cool. Hang on, don't do this. So yeah, practice playing for people. Yes, in the back. I cannot tell. I will never tell. I will say, I have been working on a new album for 3 years, and it's finally done. I'm so happy. It's like almost done. We're just in the process of like mixing it, but like my part is done. I have written the music, I have recorded it, I have picked all the songs, and that is such a relief. I feel like the hardest part of the entire process for me is writing the music. I love when I get to take the music when it's done and turn it into music videos and shows. That's where I thrive as an artist, but I really struggle going into a studio every day and like writing and trying to be creative on the spot. It makes me nervous every time. So I'm so excited that that's behind me now for this chapter, and I'm about to start a new chapter, and I will not be sharing with you any of the themes. You're just gonna have to wait. Wait, what? I will say it is not a Christmas album. Yeah, no, not that. Yes. What do I think of my violin pickles? Oh, I love pickles. Yeah, you'll see tonight all my violins have names. One of them that is touring with us on this tour is named Pickles. So you'll meet her later. In the black. Oh, absolutely. So I have 17 violins, I think, at this point. And I do customize them. Like the violins you'll see tonight, all the electric ones originally just started as like a black like outline of a violin, the kind of typical electric violin, but I rhinestoned them, or actually I can't take credit, someone else rhinestoned RON. But the red one, actually, I almost like upholstered it myself. I took some fabric I liked and I covered the violin in this really beautiful fabric and like rhinestoned it. And so it's kind of fun. I treat almost the violins like I'm making costumes for them to match my costumes. Yes?
First of all, amazing dance with Derek Hughes, but I want to know where the song The Arena hits for you.
Yeah, the Arena song it was inspired by Brene Brown's book, Daring Greatly. It's such a good book. It's my favorite book. And I read that book right before I started writing my Brave Enough album, and so kind of the whole album was themed around her writing, because I was also going through loss. I was really struggling with just grieving at that time. So it was written about the loss of my dad and my best friend, but also I was trying to put an empowering twist on it by using Brene Brown's words to like remind me that I could be brave enough, I could move forward. So yeah, The Arena is inspired by Teddy Roosevelt's quote, "The man in the arena." And yeah, every time I play it, we've played that one a lot live because it just gets me amped up. It's a fun one. Yes?
Who is the person that you like to collaborate the most?
You know, I'm gonna have to say Pink. I love Pink. I think she's the most inspiring live performer. She's definitely inspired me a lot in my live performing. And I just love what she stands for. I love what who she is, and you feel her essence in everything she does. So yeah, Pink would be my top of the list. Okay. Yes? What's my favorite? Singer. Who's my favorite singer? Well, this year I realized that I listened to Ava Max more than anybody else. She was the top of my Spotify Wrapped, which kind of surprised me, but I love Ava Max. She's a pop princess, and I love my pop music. Second on my list was Enya. It's quite a diverse flip. All right, last question in the white. Little Luna, well, she has most of the tour just been chilling back in my dressing room, but because we're flying to Europe in a few days, I actually left her with my sister a few days ago, and I miss her so much. Luna's my dog, and she's my little buddy, so She's actually in Missouri with my sister's family, but I'll be reuniting at Christmas with my pup. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight, and I'm excited for the show. We will see you soon.